Kids are shooting their parents because they're taking away their phones. We're cooked. You're an asshole. What type of father? You can't be a misogynistic, unemployed, stay-at-home father. If you're gonna do it to the fullest extent. Pay some bills. Hello, little enzymes. Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. Today, we will be dealing with parent-child dynamics and things that just go wrong. Tragically wrong in some of these stories. All of the information will be included in the description. Before we start, though, I have an announcement. I am working on merch for you guys. I hopefully want it to be done before we hit 10,000 subscribers, but right now I'm just kind of testing out samples to see what I like. I actually have this mug here that this is a sample. It says, "Don't piss me off." Basically, like, the first round of merch is just going to be a lot of common phrases that I say. So "don't piss me off" is one of them. And I thought it was funny to put it on a coffee mug because I just feel like, especially before you have your coffee, this is very important to remember. So this is like an 11-ounce mug. The design is cool. Just the printing, it's not like as quality as I would like it. So I'm going to revisit that and order another sample and see if it would be better. And this hoodie too, let me stand up. You see, it says, "Call your therapist." So yes, if you can't tell, the hoodie says, "Call your therapist." I'm always saying, well, I say "call the therapist," but it makes more sense as far as merch to put "call your therapist." So anyway, this one is okay too. I might want this to be like slightly higher. I don't know. I ordered a large because I always like to wear my stuff oversized. And this is like a heavyweight fleece lined hoodie because like I wanted to make sure it was higher quality. But y'all don't need to know. Anyway, I'm basically ordering samples of stuff, testing it out, seeing how I like it before I offer it to you guys. So you can look forward to that soon. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into the stories. We'll start with the heaviest ones first so we can kind of phase out. But I was talking to my sister the other day and she told me about this story and I was just flabbergasted. I'm going to be reading it off of Daily Mail. I didn't know anything about Daily Mail before I started doing Reddit. Apparently Daily Mail is like one of those problematic blog sites or whatever, but I have seen that this story was verified on several other different platforms, so I don't think it's like fake or anything. But just keep in mind that the way things are worded might be overly sensationalized or worded in a way that, is meant to cause unnecessary emotional reaction. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, the story says, "Mother grins from ear to ear as son, 15, who killed dad for taking away his phone is spared prison." A widow beamed from ear to ear as her son was spared jail for killing his father when he was 15 years old. Abigail Peterson grinned widely as son Lincoln Peterson, now 16, was paroled over the 2024 shooting of Jeremy Peterson, 45, at the family home in Las Vegas. Jeremy was gunned down after seizing his son's electronics to punish him for getting bad grades. Now 16, Peterson pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter with a deadly weapon in April. During his sentencing on August 14th, prosecutors had asked for Peterson to be locked away for 6 to 15 years. Instead, now, just basically, so we're all clear here. A 15-year-old got his phone taken away by his dad. In response, he shoots the father dies. He goes to jail, goes to court. The prosecutors asked for him to be put away for at least 6 years, up to 15. Listen to this. Instead, a Nevada judge decided to let him off without any prison time. So the mother says in court, "Nothing compares to losing the love of my life, my husband, and knowing that my own son's action was the cause. Unless you've stood in my place, you cannot understand the depth of the pain that coexists with forgiveness and love." I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could forgive my son for killing his father / my husband. I just don't know. And even so, even if I could forgive him, I feel like some sort of jail time would have to be necessary. You mean to tell me you get to kill somebody and you don't even go to jail at all? You're just on probation. You basically got off scot-free. That just, I feel like he's not really learning his lesson. He already wasn't learning his lesson because apparently he was sneaking to use his phone when he wasn't supposed to be. Now, when he reacts emotionally in the heat of the moment, he still doesn't learn his lesson because nobody's holding him accountable for anything. He's 16. At 16, you definitely know the difference between right and wrong. Okay? Picking up a weapon and shooting it at somebody. So in the article, if you're watching, there's a photo of the son. The caption on the photo says, Lincoln Peterson pictured has been spared jail for his father in December. The then 15-year-old flew into a rage after his dad, Jeremy, confiscated his electronic devices. And then this is a picture of the mother, and I'm assuming some of the other family members. Yeah, it says Lincoln's mother, Abigail, pictured right in navy blue, grinned from ear to ear as the son who killed her husband was paroled last week. This is a picture of the wife and the now deceased father/husband. It says parents Abigail and Jeremy Peterson had taken away their son's electronic devices when his grades fell, leading to the December 28th. The article goes on to say the death of Jeremy Peterson, 45, stemmed from the parents' decision to take away their son's electronics as punishment. When his son's grades dropped, they decided to take his devices. However, the parents believed he was sneaking electronics, resulting in the family argument December 28th. His mother had hit him with a belt during the dispute, according to court documents. As Peterson was trying to get away from his parents, the teen found a handgun that had been left on top of a dryer and fired it. He denied any knowledge of hitting anyone. The teen expressed remorse during his sentencing Thursday in Nevada. None of this was ever my intention, he said. I regret all of it. I don't have any words, and I just don't understand. I just don't understand. Now, everyone has their, views on punishment and types of punishment for children, and the line between what might be considered abuse and what might be considered okay in some households. So I will say, I don't know what was going on in their house. It says that she, the mom hit him with a belt. I don't know, what was the history, how many times, where she, apparently struck him. I just feel like running and getting a gun and just firing it willy-nilly out into the void, if that's what he actually did, that's what they claimed that he did, that just seems like a huge escalation. But again, I was not there. I don't know the situation. I don't know the dynamic between the son and the parents, how they may or may not have been. I don't know if he just got to a breaking point. I don't know. But just based off of the facts that we have here, it seems like a huge escalation. And then the fact that he gets no jail time whatsoever or no prison time whatsoever, that just is crazy to me. Here's a picture of the son, obviously sad. It says he cried as his family reads impact statements during his sentencing for his father in Las Vegas, Nevada on August 14th. This is especially sad. This is the program from the guy's funeral that just happened this January of this year. And then the article does go on to say, but prosecutors pointed out that the 15-year-old had threatened violence before. The teen's sister told investigators he had waved and unloaded at his family, then pointed it to his head and pulled the trigger, weeks before the dad's fatal shooting. A 15-year-old with some impulse control issues made a really terrible mistake, prosecutor Laura Rose argued. Prosecutor Laura Rose argued that probation was not enough. She added she could not ignore the violence of the case as well as doing something this severe without any type of adequate provocation. However, Clark County District Judge Tiara Jones told the courtroom she allowed probation because she had never seen a defendant with so much support. Peterson's probation will last for 5 years until he's 21, according to the local station. As part of his probation, the teen will have to take counseling and get a high school diploma or GED. The judge also ordered him to provide all passwords for any computer storage, cell phones, and all social media accounts to parole officers. He'll also have a curfew and must not consume drugs or alcohol. If he violates any of the terms of his probation, he will have to serve a prison sentence of 3 to 7.5 years. The only thing I can hope, and I hate to say it like this, but the only thing I can hope is that he messes up. The only thing I can hope is that in these 5 years, he misses a curfew time. He, wants to experiment and try some puff, or he, wants to drink or something, before because I just feel that the sentence is not enough. I feel like at least 1 year in the slammer would do him good. At least like 6 months. Something. You gave him probation. Now, granted, the probation does seem quite strict. He got to give the parole officer his passwords for everything. He got a curfew for the next 5 years, all the way up until he's 21. Can't, do any drugs or alcohol, which, he shouldn't be doing anyway until he's 21. But this story just seemed crazy to me. And let me just show you what the judge looked like. This the judge. The judge that let him free. In this article, there's a little bit more information. It says prosecutor Laura Rose argued that granting probation would be too lenient, while defense lawyer Ryan Helmick claimed his client learned from his mistake. The lawyer said the teen has been attending school and read 88 books in custody. His older sister, Mariah Peterson, said, "My father has passed and I will not have him for the rest of my life. I will not get to have a wedding where he walks me down the aisle. I will not get to introduce my children to him. But as much as my family is torn apart, there is reconciliation and I do believe in forgiveness." I just couldn't. What do you guys think about that story? So the next one is very similar. I don't know what's going on with all these teens and being so mad about their electronics being taken, but it says a Meigs County teenager is facing a murder charge in the shooting death of a man at home in Georgetown on Tuesday. District Attorney General Russell Johnson said a juvenile delinquent petition for first-degree murder has been taken out on a 15-year-old girl in a deadly shooting at a home in the 200 block of whatever. General Johnson said the victim, Richard High, was killed by a single gunshot wound during the early morning hours of June 10th. That's crazy. Because what's going on with all these teenagers offing their parents because of electronics? That's really crazy. My phone got taken away in high school. I don't even know why, because I was a great kid in high school. But my parents took my phone away, and I wasn't doing that. I would never think to do that. That's just crazy to me. But anyway, with this story, it says a detention hearing has been scheduled for Thursday, June 12th. Our office will be prosecuting the case in juvenile court at this time. No decision has been made yet relative to whether the juvenile will be transferred to adult court for prosecution. As in these types of cases, we expect that there will be court-ordered evaluations of the juvenile given the seriousness and nature of the crime and the age of the juvenile. And then an update to the story says, we have updates on a shooting back in June that left one Meigs County man dead and a teenager arrested. Our NBC affiliate filed a lawsuit to unseal the records, demanding more transparency on public information about the juvenile. According to those unsealed records, in the early hours on June 10th, authorities say a 15-year-old Meigs County teen shot her father in his sleep. They say she was angry he'd taken her phone and had been trying to distance her from her boyfriend. Documents say that before the shooting, the teen debated whether or not to do it for 20 minutes. Meigs County, and I don't even know if I'm saying that right, deputies responded to the home when she called 911 shortly after. The teen is now facing a first-degree charge. Much of this information is just now being released. Previously, 2 days after the shooting, Meigs County Juvenile Court judge had ordered records and hearings for the teen to be sealed. Apparently, they wanted to keep everything as private as possible because she was a juvenile. But obviously, that decision got reversed after an attorney sought to release the records. The judge has ordered that the teen undergo mental health testing while awaiting her trial. The judge said, I want a thorough assessment of this young lady. I think that would be good for everybody to kind of check, and it would probably help you guys, and it probably helps everybody in this situation. She is due back in court August 14th, so that was 9 days ago. That was 9 days ago. So that's pretty much the whole story. This one is even worse than the last one, in my opinion. Obviously, she hasn't been sentenced or anything yet, so we're going to see what ends up happening. But the fact that you sat there and contemplated for 20 minutes on whether or not to literally cause serious bodily injury to your parent just because they took your phone? Just because they took your phone so you supposedly aren't in contact with your boyfriend. Like, we're cooked, chat. We're cooked. We're cooked. Kids are shooting their parents because they're taking away their phones. We're cooked. Now you ain't got no phone or no dad. So I hope it was worth it. Obviously, I'm being facetious. This is crazy. I just don't get it. And obviously, these situations, there's it gets convoluted. Again, I don't know what the family dynamics are. I don't know anything except for the facts that are presented here, but it just seems so crazy to me. Let me go to the next story. This one is actually from Reddit. No one passes away, thank God, but one might think that this might equally be as tragic. So, trigger warning for parental neglect. It says, am I the a-hole for being closer to my sons than my daughters? And the post is by OP, the man, the father, and his wife actually finds the post and responds. So this is a 2 POV story here. The original post says, I, 38 male, have been married to my wife, 34 female, for 7 years. We have 4 kids together, aged 7, 6, 4, and 4. 6-year-old and 4-year-old are boys, 7-year-old and 4-year-old are girls. Me and my wife got into a pretty big argument recently, and I need unbiased opinions. I feel like I've always been closer to my sons rather than my daughters. I'm a boy. I like boy stuff, so do they. I don't like princesses or dolls, so I've always gravitated towards my sons because we have more in common. Anyways, the argument started after my wife had put the kids to bed one night. I was laying down and she came into the room and confronted me about what my 7-year-old daughter had just told her. According to my wife, as she was tucking my daughter into bed, she started crying and asked, why doesn't daddy like me? My wife told me that the kids notice how I treat them differently and I needed to stop acting like I hated my daughters. I told her I don't hate them, but we don't have anything in common. Bro. You're an asshole. What type of father? We don't have anything in common? You say that it's like it's your coworker at the job. This is your kid. That's Opie goes on to say she was pissed and started yelling at me about how immature I was being. I think it's stupid. Obviously, dads are going to be closer to their sons. That's just how the brain works. See. He said, I tried explaining this to her and she just didn't listen. She left and I think she went to sleep in my daughter's bed. I'm not sure. So, am I the a-hole? I just want my wife to understand what I'm saying and she's not listening to me. I'm just so disgusted. I'm just so disgusted that your daughter is literally sitting here like, why doesn't daddy like me? And your first thing that comes to mind is, oh, well, I mean, that's just how it goes. We don't have anything in common. So, hey, you're not concerned. You don't want to immediately go to your daughter and hear her out, try to see what's going on. What the is wrong with you, bro? I hope this is fake. I just can't see it being I could see this being reality where some people actually think like this, and that's sad. Someone said, so your daughter, at the young age of 7, has already picked up on the fact that her father dismisses her and her interests and makes no effort to find some common ground or mutual interest they might bond over, or that he's incapable of occasionally feigning his interest in some of the books or toys she likes, probably because he worries that his precious masculinity might take a hit. Yeah, it sounds like you're the a-hole. It definitely sounds like a toxic masculinity thing going on here. Definitely, 100%. Because there's no way you can't participate in any of the activities that your daughter likes just for the sake of connection. Yeah, she might like dolls or whatever. Play it with her. What's wrong with you? What's up with you? It's gonna make you feel that bad to play with dolls for one day because your daughter want to do it. You're that fragile in your masculinity that it's gonna hurt your reputation that bad to play some dolls with your daughter. Ooh, may this type of man never ever find me, never ever even know where I live, never lay eyes upon me, never even think about me. Somebody said, you're the a-hole. Perfect 1950s dad work here. That's how children responded to the love they are shown, and you are clearly favoring your sons without even freaking trying to connect with your daughters. Do better. Then we have the story from the wife's point of view. She commented on the post. So this is a person claiming to be the wife, obviously, but they commented on the post. I am the wife. I found this post because when I went into our room to get my charger, he was asleep, but his laptop was still open with this Reddit thread. Idiot. I don't even have a Reddit account, so I needed to make this just so I can post here. First, I can assure you this is not fake, as many of you here are suggesting. Here are a few other things my husband has done that he conveniently left out of his initial post. My daughter started crying to him about if he didn't like her, not to me. She only came to me when he didn't care. My husband has taken our sons on multiple vacations without our daughters, using my money, I might add. My daughters were told that it was a boys' trip and no girls were allowed. This guy. He refused to do both of my girls' daddy-daughter dances this past Christmas because he thought it was stupid. I danced with them instead. He tried to make my girls clean up their brother's mess because it's a girl's job to clean, quote unquote. I could go on for hours. Now this is the part where I'm kind of side-eyeing OP, because did you not know he was like this before? I just feel like this level of toxic masculinity does not go unnoticed. And maybe she thought like, oh, I know he's like that with me or other people, but with his own daughters, like, surely. But this is why you got to be careful and choose wisely when it comes to the people you choose to procreate with. That is why that is my number one deciding factor on whether or not I'm going to have kids. If I can find a good partner. I say it all the time. If I can't, I'm going to be perfectly fine being a rich auntie, showing up for my nieces and nephews, because God forbid I end up in any situation like this. Anyway, the wife continues, I could go on for hours. I want to give everyone some more context. My husband, quote, works from home. By working from home, I mean he is completely unemployed. Ha! The irony. The irony. I am the sole breadwinner for the family. I am a doctor. I take sole responsibility in caring for the kids. He does literally nothing. I bring them to all of their sporting events, school events, appointments, etc. Ever since we had kids, he was detached from our daughters. He used the same excuse he said in here. He's a boy and doesn't like girl stuff. It's pretty hard to not get along with small children. They quite literally will do anything. My 7-year-old would go run through the mud if it meant she got to play with her dad for 5 minutes. It's heartbreaking to see how much she yearns for a relationship with him. This is not super important, but my daughter loves, quote, boy stuff. She likes to go fishing with her grandpa and playing video games with her brother. So the excuse of her not liking boy stuff is dumb. He just doesn't like his daughter. That is sad. She said a lot of people are probably wondering why I married him in the first place and why I haven't divorced him yet. I was wondering. She said, to answer the first question, I was young and stupid. I ignored red flags and have now ended up here. I have put off divorce for so long strictly because it is hard to get a divorce. I am riddled with student loan debt, so I couldn't really afford it while taking care of 4 kids. This might have made me an a-hole for not leaving sooner, but I'm done now. This has sealed the deal for me. I've been crying all night thinking about my daughters. Not only them, but I know my sons are not being treated right either. My 6-year-old has noticed how his father treats his sisters, and it makes him so sad. He has offered his spot on vacations multiple times so that one of his sisters can go, and his dad says no. That is sad. That is sad. She said, I'm done with this. So when he wakes up tomorrow, he will be told to leave my house that I own and that he will be hearing from my lawyer. I'm not putting up with him or any of his BS anymore. I love my kids more than life itself. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to take all 4 of them out on an ice cream date while he packs his things. No limit on how much they can buy. They deserve it. Thanks, Reddit, for showing him how stupid he is. And thank you for going to bat for me and my children. Have a good night. I mean, at least she's self-aware enough to know that she ignored red flags and stuff. Because I was about to say there had to be red flags. You don't get to that level of toxicity without there being something that ain't quite right. And just let that be a lesson. Don't ignore red flags. Don't ignore red flags. If someone can treat another human being wrong, they can always treat you wrong, or they can always treat your children wrong. If they can treat anyone wrong, they can treat you wrong too. Don't think that you're an exception to the rule, because eventually it's going to come around. Sad, 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 like that you would treat your children like this. So there's an update about 6 months later. She said, hi Reddit, about 6 months ago, my ex posted an Am I the A-hole post about being closer to our sons than our daughters. I found the post and made a comment under it. I have linked the post here. You can scroll and find my comment. I haven't really been back on Reddit since that night, but I came to check it today and noticed I had a bunch of messages asking for an update, so I figured I would give one here. I don't want to go into too much detail about everything just to protect me and my kids' privacy, but long story short, we are doing great. My ex has moved out of the house, and after we started the court process, he has lost all custody he had of all the kids. He definitely fought for it, but I had enough proof to block him from that. He doesn't have any visitation, nothing. In the States, divorce is a long and complicated process, so it will take a while for everything to be official, but we are heading in that direction. My kids are doing great. They were all put into some kind of therapy and are healing. I've seen a change in all of them, and I'm so proud of how strong they have been. To everyone who went to bat for me and my kids, thank you. Redditors can be crazy, but I feel like I got the best outcome. You guys were all so supportive, and I can't thank you enough. To other women in a similar situation as me, I promise you will feel so much better once you leave. It's hard and probably going to be one of the hardest things you will do, but the outcome is so worth it. And lastly, to my kids, I hope you never find this post, but if you do, hopefully when you're a lot older, just know I am so proud of you guys. Mom loves you more than the world, and I know you guys will do great things. Keep being the shining light in my life. Love you guys. Once again, thank you, Reddit, for all of your help. This will be my final update. And someone said, congrats on tossing out the trash of a husband and a father. I'm so happy you and your kids are free from him and can now begin the healing process. Mind if I ask, how did he take the divorce? The wife responded, he didn't take it well. It was a lot of, no, I'll try to be better, but I didn't want to hear it. He contacted my friends and family a bunch of times, but he seems to have calmed down now. He's moved in with his mom, the last I heard. In another comment, she said, surprisingly, he fought for time with all of the kids. More recently, though, he's put in requests for supervised visits with my oldest son. Those have been denied. I'm glad that she was able to get away to be that misogynistic and toxic, and then ironically also not doing your part in being misogynistic. Like, if you're going to be misogynistic, go, be 100%. You can't be a misogynistic, unemployed, stay-at-home father. If you're going to do it. If you want to be a toxic man and participate in toxic masculinity, do it to the fullest extent. Pay some bills. You over there laying on your back at home. You're not even paying no bills. That's actually crazy. Like, pick a side, bro. That's actually crazy. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to the palate cleanser. I was going to read another story that's kind of like a palate cleanser type of thing. It's basically about a stepmother who wrote a letter to her future 18-year-old stepson, and it's like a cute little, thing. Like, I'll always be there for you, whatever. I'll put it in the description so you read it. Read it if you want to. But I also like this. So basically I have 2 palate cleansers. There's this video I saw on TikTok of a dad giving his son his first like facial hair lineup, and they are so hyped. Like, it is so funny. You just have to watch it to get what I'm like saying.
Hey, hold on. Let me fix it a little bit. Hold on. Go ahead. Yeah, like that. Something like that. Hold on. Ain't no freaking way. Nah, stop. Oh my. Yeah! Yo, chat.
Look at my stash.
Chat.
Oh my gosh!
Chat.
I have a beard!
Hey, yo.
I have a beard!
Yo, hold on.
No!
Chat.
That is too freaking cute. He literally got like a little peach fuzz on the top of his lip, and his dad, you know, lined it up to make it look. I mean, it looks like a very, 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 very light mustache, but it's just so funny seeing them both be so hype and excited about it. I thought that was cute. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.